So I got to see this movie, 2,000 Mules, down here in Palm Beach, and I left disgusted that something like this can happen in America. Smoking gun proof is what Dinesh D'Souza and True the Vote found of election fraud. So here is my message to any law enforcement officer, federal agent that is working in Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan, Arizona, Pennsylvania. You watch this movie, and then you ask yourselves, how do we not investigate? All it takes is one law enforcement officer or federal agent to say, I'm going to look into this and prove what Dinesh D'Souza proved privately. You can do it. It has to be done for the sake of America, for the future of America. So if you're a law enforcement officer watching this, I'm begging you, take it upon yourself. Go rogue. Heck, the Democrats have rogue FBI agents. How about Republicans have a rogue FBI agent that actually enforces the law?
Grant Stinchfield, for some reason, was walking on the beach with no shirt on, decided to have a rant about what's going on here. So he's a NewsMax host, in case you guys don't know, but he's urging rogue law enforcement officers to go and look into Dinesh D'Souza's movie. Maybe they can watch Matrix as well. Maybe they should watch iRobot and look into the problem with these robots going crazy in the future. I don't know. Let's watch any random movie and say, you know what, this is fact. I think it might happen. Let's investigate this. Let's go rogue. It's nonsense. But in case you don't believe me, here's a bit of that trailer from Dinesh D'Souza.
Let me begin by asking a very simple question. Do we know the truth about what really happened in the 2020 election?
I've been working with Greg Phillips. He has a deep background in election intelligence.
We identified in Atlanta 242 mules that went to an average of 24 drop boxes. But Philadelphia alone, we've identified more than 1,100 mules.
So there's D'Souza's film with all of the shocking sounds of because that's how investigations and documentary things that are uncovering reality work to make you manipulate your emotions and feelings with random sounds and things. Anyways, D'Souza's not happy because some of his what he think were his buddies are not promoting the film enough because it's their duty as propagandists to promote his films. Let's look at what he's saying because he's upset. He tweeted this out. I'm sorry to say Tucker Carlson and his team specifically instructed Catherine Engelbrecht of True the Vote not to mention the movie. And he also mentioned Tucker Carlson's producer. I believe that's who that is there. Also, American conservative polling company Rasmussen reports also they weighed in on this matter as well with these. Update, like Fox News, NewsMax is taking a dive on 2,000 Mules also. No current stories listed. Cable TV news is wrecking itself. Remember this, and there's a screenshot. They're not talking about the nonsense movie. Also, True the Vote it's a Texas-based nonprofit organization that provided the research D'Souza based his film on, claiming that 2,000 mules were paid by Democratic officials to collect and drop off votes in multiple states. We talked about this a few days ago, and we're just gonna go through a couple of the facts that were fact-checked through this film, because we did mention this before, but I want to get your thoughts on this, Rayvon, really fast. So the AP fact-checked the film, and that said that former Donald Trump screened this movie at Mar-a-Lago, and has hailed it as revealing the great election fraud, and concluded it is based on faulty assumptions, anonymous accounts, and improper analysis of cell phone location data, which is not precise enough to confirm that somebody deposited a ballot into a drop box, and that's according to some of the experts. Now, while Engelbrecht did not mention the film by name on Tucker Carlson tonight, she was given the platform to make her debunk claims, and she has immutable evidence that operatives visiting voter drop boxes multiple times based on that cell phone data that the fact check then pointed out was nonsense. I kind of want to see the movie because you know what I like to do, Ray. I go on Netflix sometimes and I just search. I go to maybe horror or comedy, not even comedy. I go to horror or I go to like suspense, and I look for the worst movie because those are funny. Like I love ironically funny movies.
I was cracking up at the scene where it's like Dinesh D'Souza and Charlie Kirk and then those other Republicans right at the beginning of the trailer. And they're like meeting in a dark room and he's like, there's gotta be stuff that we don't know about the election yet. It's gonna turn it like, that's just, every Republican conservative political commentator wants to be a movie star so bad. But I also love the idea that Dinesh D'Souza is the person we should talk to about election integrity. A man who was literally convicted of making of giving too much money in an election to a candidate, for violating FEC rules against campaign finance, and went. Or I don't think he ever went to jail, but he was on probation. He was convicted of it. Trump ended up pardoning him. But I mean, this is a man who is an expert in fraudulent elections, right? But not on the side of ensuring that they have integrity, but on the side of ensuring that they are fraudulent. But this is your guy. This is your guy. I mean, come on.
Some of those scenes, this is like a documentary with information to you. It's like dark rooms and computers and reaching over the top. It's like straight out of Jurassic Park. But really fast, because Stinchfield, again, at the top of this whole thing without the shirt on the beach, he works for NewsMax. Dinesh D'Souza's upset with them too. I did mention that. Let's look at this tweet. By the way, NewsMax is also blocking coverage of 2,000 Mules. I was booked on Grant Stinchfield, that's our man at the top, his NewsMax show, and then the network canceled on me. Criticize the move if you like, but why isn't this a legitimate news story? How can so-called news networks pretend it doesn't exist? Well, it exists. They just don't have to talk about it. Again, he just expects all this to happen.